Hey, all my fantasy football friends, welcome to the Multiple First Dynasty channel here on YouTube. This is Stosh X, Tony, coming at you with my partner, the Philosiraptor, Mr. Greg. How are you today, sir?
Hey, Tony, I am fantastic. Ready to do some buying and selling for the listeners today.
Yeah, man, we're that's what we got queued up for you. We got buys and sells for the Dynasty community, and we're also gonna be talking about some of the news and notes, and we're also gonna be looking at a few trades that we made on some of our buy and sell players here. So putting our money where our mouth is, trying to give you some templates of what you could be looking at if you're going to make some moves around some of the players we're going to be talking to today.
Absolutely.
It's been a great week. We had a lot of news breakdown here the last few days. Biggest of which, of course, was the Chicago Bears trading away the 101 pick for 5 assets. Boy, that's a multiple first channel trade if I've ever seen one. Getting 5 for one deal to get 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and quality player in DJ Moore.
Absolutely.
I love this move for the Bears. Just when you already have your quarterback established, you can get a weapon, you can get a bunch of picks, you can still stay in the top 10 of the current year's draft. I mean, you can't. Basically, early Christmas, if you're a Bears fan, I think really could not be hoping for any better return. I love this for the Bears.
It's so much for the Bears. It's great for the franchise. It's great value. DJ Moore is easily worth a first round pick. So it's 3 firsts plus 2 seconds essentially is the value you're getting here, which is tremendous. And the locked in 109. I think this was made easier by the Jalen Carter situation, right? So all of a sudden, they weren't so locked into staying in the top 4 and staying near those top couple of guys. And I think it is good news for the franchise. I think it's good news for the Panthers too. I will say this: look at what the Panthers just paid to go get a quarterback.
Yeah.
And look at what the Broncos paid to go get Russell Wilson. Those were the last 2 teams that passed on Justin Fields before he came off the board. So, there's a lesson, guys, right? You take the quarterback. So when somebody takes Will Levis over a defensive lineman, a blue chip defensive lineman, and people go, you got to take the blue chip player here. No, guys, right? When you don't have a quarterback, you end up doing stuff like this, right? You take the quarterback for your NFL team.
Yeah, totally.
And you take the quarterback for your dynasty squad.
Oh, yeah. Same thing. Yeah, I feel the same way. Just looking back at from the Bears side again is when you look at what they wanted to do this offseason, it's the main keys: spend your cap space effectively, trade down from this 101 spot, accrue more picks, and add weapons for Justin Fields. And they'd managed to do all of that in one move. You're effectively spending cap money because Moore just got that extension, so you're giving him some money, but it's money you're confident in spending. You're getting the picks, you're adding the weapons. On the Panthers side of it, you can almost see it coming because of how aggressive they've been pursuing the other quarterbacks the last couple of years. When you look back at the Watson situation, the Stafford situation 2 years ago, Panthers were big-time players in both of those. So now they just went up there and got their guy. Who do you think they're going to pick?
I don't know. I mean, I heard one report that the GM, the head coach, and the owner all want different guys, which is fine. Which is actually fine. I think part of the deal here is they were sitting there thinking none of these guys are going to get to us, right? So it may not be that they had to have this guy or that guy. It wouldn't surprise me if they checked with the Cardinals too, and the price difference wasn't that big.
Yeah, so you just pay it and go to the top.
Right, and they can just figure it out. Bring all these guys in for interviews. I do kind of think it won't be Bryce Young.
Yeah, I'm hearing Stroud, a lot of Stroud. That's what I see and hear a lot of. So
I hear the speculation, but the proximity of this move to the combine also feels Richardson.
Yeah.
So could go either way, really. I think those are the 2 favorites.
Certainly. All right, yeah, that's kind of the big news recently. And we want to get into what we're here to do.
Can we say a couple of things? How do you feel about this news for Justin Fields?
How do I feel? I love it for Justin Fields. Getting him a big time weapon, getting him some help where help in terms of picks where they can keep adding linemen and defensive players. Just the better this team gets around him, the better it is for him. I like it for Fields a lot.
Moore
has been kind of, his value has been pushed down pretty aggressively the last couple of years because of the turmoil situation. Is this arrows up or arrows down for Moore? I have to say arrows up, but not like some big multi-tier jump, I don't think.
Flattish, but
yeah, pretty lateral, but he's a little more attractive.
I agree with all of that. Like
Yeah.
there's some dynamism to the offense he's in. Maybe it scores more points. How do you feel about some of the ancillary pieces? Mooney bad, Kmet. Does this do anything bad or okay? Or
it seems to help Kmet. Anyone who's got a locked-in role on that, as a starter on that offense, it probably helps them a little bit. I could see it helping Kmet because he's no longer the most threatening pass catcher on the team. I think this is kind of bad for Claypool. We can talk about that a little later. So.
And anything on the other side? Are you secretly buying Laviska Shenault or anything?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. Definitely not trying to like go get Terrence Marshall. If there's anything that interests me on the Panthers end of this, it is Shi Smith. He's so cheap, dirt cheap.
Free.
Yeah, free, totally free. And he's kind of like flashed a little bit here and there, and it seems like they like him. And now there's this massive opening. At cost, I kind of like Shi Smith more than Marshall.
Right, like if you sell a guy for a pick and you've got to go to the waiver wire and fill that spot, and Shi Smith is sitting there, that's something to notice this move.
Yeah.
And also, hey guys, big winner in this deal, Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Arizona Cardinals are going to get to sell that pick for a lot, I think. I think to the Raiders or to the Colts. They're either going to get something to move down a spot and get the same guy, or they're going to get a bunch from the Raiders to come up and jump ahead of the Colts. And then that in turn means you're probably getting 4 quarterbacks in the top 4. Like you really could get the 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks this year, which is good for your rookie picks. Because if Will Levis rises, like that's going to push other assets down, and it's going to be good for those middle first round picks in your rookie draft, I think. So I think those are some of the implications of this big news. Let's get on to our stuff.
All right, buying and selling. So here we like to buy high and sell low, give you an idea of some of the risers and fallers who you can buy on the way up, who even though they're down, you still be comfortable selling them. That's something we like to talk about on the show a lot. So for me personally, one of my big buys right now for the offseason is any of the elite quarterbacks. And when I say elite, I mean specifically these 6 guys at the top of the list. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Hurts, Herbert, Lawrence. Order them in whatever you like, but go out and take some time and just poke these owners. Send out flyers for these guys. The quarterbacks are massive safety valve, massive points, massive advantage if you have 2 of them. If you don't have one, you should go get one. And if you have one, you should go look to pair it with another one of these 2 guys. You can look at our Dynasty 24/7 365 league and just see, like, you don't need to have crazy skill position players. If you have 2 elite game-breaking quarterbacks, they can just carry you. And they carried us to a championship this year. So the template's right there. I love all 6 of these guys. I'm shopping and going out and trying to get them. Just for instance, I made a trade. I'm going to put up on the screen here. This trade just went through last night, less than 24 hours old. So this is the deal. I acquired Trevor Lawrence and a 4th-round pick, whatever. I traded away 106, my champion Kenneth Walker, and I traded away Chase Claypool. So I made a 3-for-1, basically. Context on the team is it is a team that won a championship last year.
I don't need context.
All right,
That's a great deal.
That's a great deal.
No.
Thanks. Yeah.
Are you rebuilding? Go buy Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Are you contender? Go buy Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like what. That's great. It's amazing.
It's a good deal.
Right? Like, and do you have Patrick Mahomes? And go make Trevor Lawrence your number 2.
That's
Are you thin at quarterback? Go make Trevor Lawrence your number 1. I love it. Trevor Lawrence is the most flexible, safest piece in Dynasty right now. He still has upside.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
He could still go from the 106 startup pick to the 101 startup pick, right? He still has like value upside. Um, and you only paid 2 first, Chase Claypool. That's theft. That's theft.
I loved it.
And I
Yeah.
like those picks, but still.
Yeah, I had Brady on my title team from last year, and he's, I was sitting on the 106 hoping to replace with a QB, and just started firing off offers. This one hit. I love it. I think I paid pretty well for it. I mean, I love Walker, and feels like I'm selling him near the top. So,
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
getting all the juice out of the Walker orange. I'm cool with it.
And I might add, you in particular have a lot of Walker shares, and it's not. We don't talk about ownership, the roster percentage, and some of that stuff very often. Maybe we should talk about it a little bit more often on this, but like, it's never a bad idea to diversify off some of your most owned players when they're at a high value.
Yeah.
Right? Because you bank a couple of shares of that, even if it drops 10% in value. You've sold some of it at its peak, and you can sell a little more, and you feel good about the aggregate.
Yeah,
so I love that.
In terms of startup, it's like Lawrence is a top 5, top 6 player. Walker's like a late second round pick. The 106, whoever that ends up being, is probably someone drafted in like the 6th, 7th, 8th round, someone in there. So those 2 assets, a late second plus a mid round pick plus a Claypool to go up and get Lawrence. I'd make that trade in a startup, and I made it right here.
Oh, I would make that trade in any startup. I don't know that. I don't know that the 106, like, that could end up being a 4th round startup pick by the time we get to May, because if Levis steams up the boards, we've just been talking about this, and if Levis ends up being the 104, and then Gibbs gets top 25 draft capital, you may see that pick, right? And it's still a good deal. Right, and it's still a startup 2 and a startup 3, a startup late 2 and a startup 3.
Yeah, late 3, mid 4, something.
Right, so even if you have to give that for the startup 106, you're happy to do it. And Claypool is an asset you'd like to sell right now.
Yeah. All right, man, who you buying?
So somebody I am buying high. I'm in the same position group as you. I'm buying high on Daniel Jones, man. So one of the things that I like to look at for buy highs is players who get news and the market moves, but it doesn't move quickly enough, right? And in the current quarterback 2 landscape, the contract Daniel Jones got is makes him a real tier better than a bunch of guys who are in sketchier contract situations. He's got the rushing floor. He's got an offensive head coach that you want, and they locked into, I think, at least 3 years, realistically, the way the contract is structured. And I think they locked into definitely not being in on any interesting quarterbacks next offseason, right? Like if there's a Lamar goes to free agency again, like if he plays on the tag and they're not in a situation to make any of those moves.
Yeah.
So I think just the contract security makes him worth more than the quarterback 17-ish in when the rookies are factored in. Like he's not he's in a group with guys like Cousins and Pickett, who doesn't have the rushing and probably has less job security.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, maybe Matthew Stafford, depending on how you feel about that. Like Derek Carr, and I like this better than all of that. And I think this is a place, if you're looking to buy a quarterback 2 where your money doesn't, your value doesn't evaporate tomorrow, this is the guy you buy.
Yeah, he's got week to week big time upside with his legs. I love it. I've really enjoyed Daniel Jones. He's someone I've rostered several times. I wouldn't say I've been all in on him his whole career, but I really liked him 2 years ago when he was like an 8th or 9th round startup pick. He's pretty good. So Yeah, I love it. Buy Daniel Jones, man.
Absolutely. So who you selling? Who you selling low on?
Selling low, letting some of these guys that are declining also can go. So my big sell is Mr. Damien Pierce, running back for the Houston Texans. I really like this guy a lot last season, and I was advocating a lot to take him. Be willing to let him go right now. Houston is going to add a tailback for certain, and you can kind of see that because they let go of Rex Burkhead. They just have too much of a void at the position. There could even be a situation where they're drafting a player and signing a player both. Houston's going to be bad. They're going to be a bad team again this year, man. And he's going to get game scripted into some challenging positions. I like the football player who Damien Pierce is. I hate the situation, and I like the price tag to let him go right now. If you look on most ranking websites, he's somewhere in that like RB12 to 15, 16 range, that high end RB2 range. That's also young. So if I could sell and get like a later first this year, plus like maybe some more juice to it, like a 110 plus a 24 second or something to move Pierce.
Well,
that's pretty rich.
Yeah,
I probably can't get that.
No,
yeah.
Well, if you could get that, he'd be a sell high.
That's not a sell low necessarily. I guess.
No, that is. Let's push this. Would you take the 204 for him?
Straight up for Pierce?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I would. I'd rather just hold him.
Okay.
Only because I feel like I could get more. In season, these running backs are worth a lot more, so I don't think I would sell for that price. He's still so young, but like, I hate his future though. His future outlook looks really sketchy, so it's so hard to reconcile.
Yeah, so this is my question: is like, do you want to get out because you say you want to hold for the 204?
Yeah.
But like, he could also get like Alexander Madison could land there on Monday, and then you'd not get in the 204 anymore.
No.
Right. So that's my question: is like, where are you on the fear factor with Damien Pierce?
Middle. I'm like middle lukewarm. I'm like on 10 being petrified and 1 being absolute hold. I'm like the 5 or 6 probably.
Interesting. All right. So let me give you a name that I am selling low on. I am selling low on Mr. Darren Waller.
The Walrus.
Yeah. Darren Waller is currently on any of the ranking websites. You're seeing him at tight end 9 to tight end 11. And if somebody wants to pay me back in tight end 1 prices, I think that's his startup ADP is about tight end 9. He's 9 and 10 with Greg Dulcich right now. If I could get those tight end 1 prices, I'm selling low. I'm not waiting to see if I get a bounce back this year. We've got quarterback uncertainty. We've got a coach. Like, he's going to be with the same coach last year who in his first year with the team was bad for Waller's productivity.
Yeah.
We've got a situation where he's playing next to Adams, which we've only seen that for 1 year, and it was bad for his productivity, right? So none of the things that changed to the bad last year are going away, and the quarterback could get worse. If I could pivot over to Trey McBride, Trey McBride is trading a few tight end spots below him.
Yeah.
And I would take Trey McBride in a 4th to move off of Darren Waller. I think I would take Greg Dulcich straight across.
Oh yeah, I would.
I might give I'd give Darren Waller in a 4th to get across to Greg Dulcich, right? I take Chigakonkwo straight across. Those are all
That's an interesting
names
one right there.
Yeah, so I don't feel good about Darren Waller going forward, and what I can get for him right now is worth more to me than holding him on my teams.
Yeah, boy, that 2020 season, the 2021 season, or the 2020, excuse me, where he had 150 targets was a tight end too. That just feels like an eternity ago at this point for Darren Waller. He's just not that player for fantasy purposes anymore. Yeah, he can go. See you later, Darren Waller.
Yeah.
What's his contract look like? Is he like, is he stuck to the Raiders, or what's up with that? I'm looking it up right now.
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Signed a 3-year. They have an out after this upcoming season.
After the upcoming season?
I can't imagine he lasts past that then. We'll see. We shall see. All right, I'm selling. I have a sell low that's a little more in the sell low vein, I suppose, than Pierce, but that's Chase Claypool. I think wide receiver Chase Claypool is someone you should be looking to move on from at this point. The trade to acquire DJ Moore was really bad for Claypool. This offense, I do not think can sustain multiple fantasy relevant pass catchers, and I think Komet's probably the number 2 of them. Yeah, I really like Claypool and the talent that he brought. He's a player that I was all in on a few seasons ago, but it's been him being traded was bad. Adding DJ Moore is bad. It's all bad for Chase Claypool. I would happily move Claypool for like a middle or even maybe a back half second round pick.
Would you move him for a third?
Maybe
top half third, 303.
If someone sends me the 302 for Claypool, I'm
probably
looking
out.
at it real hard.
Yeah,
I might accept it. Good. Maybe.
Yeah. I like this class through the first 6. Let's assume it's a super flex tight end premium.
I probably do accept that trade for the 302, for the 302, 303, because there's players I like in that region, and there's enough goofballs in all of our drafts where people reach on players. So even more dudes you like slip further down into your lap in those positions. So yeah, I think I would let Claypool go for an early third.
But first of all, that's a great insight.
Yeah,
guys, if you take the 303, which is the 27th pick, you're very unlikely to get your 27th favorite player.
No, you won't. You'll get like your 23rd favorite player.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you'll go, oh, I got a second round value in the third round, right? So, my other sell low. Hey, by the way, can we just take a note here?
Yeah.
Javonte Williams was my sell low on the February 21st show,
okay.
And we have now gotten some really bad injury news out of Denver. Where
did we?
Where he is. The team's official statement was, we think he's going to be ready for week 1, and then
I heard that.
The next day,
so stupid. Yeah.
And then the next day there was a bunch of people who know, reporters who have these inside connections who break these stories, were like, no, nobody in the Denver office thinks he's going to be ready for week 1. They think he's going to miss a lot of time.
Yeah.
They're privately very worried about everything, right? I believe Matthew Berry broke this, actually. And Matthew Berry seemed to have gotten somebody in the Broncos front office drunk at the combine. So that was another. And I also want to say, last week on the show, I had James Cook as my sell low, and the Bills have said some nice things about him since then.
Some positive
and I just want to say, I stand by that. They're going to replace him. They're going to make him the gadget half of that thing. I want to get a top half second round pick in this year's draft for him, get out and re-roll that dice. So anyway, those are my notes. My other sell low for this week is Zamir White, and I will take any 4th round 2023 draft pick for Zamir White.
Yeah.
I just want out. They put the tag on Jacobs. I want any value for Zamir White now. I will take anything I can get. I'm willing to cut the man. This is a complete bust.
Yeah.
This is a complete bust. If you get the 402, remember what we just said about this. You're going to get the player you liked at the 308, 307, and there's a guy at the 307 who I like more than Josh Jacobs, maybe backup.
Yeah.
And maybe not.
Boy, I had Adams last week, and now we talked about Waller and Zamir. Just sell all your Raiders. Just let them go, man. You don't need them anymore.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I kind of like Josh Jacobs. I think the tag was good for his value in my eyes, but the rest of this, no, I don't want any part of it. All right, so that was our buy high, sell low. Tony had buy high, elite quarterbacks, sell low, Chase Claypool and Damien Pierce. I pushed you around on that one. I had buy high, Daniel Jones, and sell low, Darren Waller and Zamir White.
Love it. All right, man. So, are there any just traditional buys? Maybe people that aren't so expensive that you're looking for out there in the world?
Yeah. So I had uh, I had buy low. I had regular just buy the 104, buy low on the 104, and I think that was my buy low before the combine. And man, I'm already reaping some profits. I bought a couple of shares. It's been great. My new version of that is get the 106.
Yeah.
Right. Wait for the Will Levis rise, and then when Jameer Gibbs and JSN make it to 6, like you'll have something that's worth a lot more than you paid for it.
I'd tack the 107 right next to the 106 for you too on what you're buying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you have 109 and you can get to 107 for not a whole lot, that's to me that is great. And let me just throw a couple of names at you. I think Michael Gallup is too cheap, right? Like didn't he have a December ACL 2 years ago? It was really late.
Yeah. Yep.
So maybe we're dinging him too much for last year's bad year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just they don't have another guy yet. Jalen Tolbert was terrible, right? Kenny Golladay to the Rams. Do you want Kenny Golladay for free if you can get a hold of him?
If I could pick him up off the wire. I mean, I guess he's worth a roster spot.
See a guy. I kind of think that's I don't know. I kind of feel like there's a chance that Kenny Golladay saves his career. I don't know.
I'd rather have any third round pick this year than Kenny Golladay.
I'm not giving up much of anything for him. And then Brandon Cooks. Is Brandon Cooks the best wide receiver a team can go get right now?
DeAndre Hopkins, probably.
Maybe, yeah.
Assuming those rumors are true. But yeah, Cooks would probably be second best. Brandon Cooks or Juju Smith-Schuster. If you're a real NFL team.
I want Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, I'd rather have Cooks too. He's got a lot more juice. Yeah.
Brandon Cooks or Jacoby Myers.
Cooks. Easy.
Right. So somebody somewhere goes and gets Cooks, and he gets his day where he gets the bump in value that we're sort of seeing on DJ Moore today, maybe undeservedly, but like I think Cooks does not have much value bump, and another really good season priced in. So those are some names that I think are just very cheap. Gallup, Cooks, and then Golladay. Just check your waiver wire. I think that's a name to add off the waiver wire.
Yeah. Kenny Golladay is worth a roster spot, at least through free agency here. He might be someone you cut in 6 months, but he's worth a roster spot today.
In particular, I love the idea of him going back to play with Stafford.
Yeah.
That needs somebody with Allen Robinson probably getting cut.
They have not established the vertical threat that they've wanted in that offense. I mean, Van Jefferson's been bad. Robinson did not do it. So if Golladay can come in and be that, it'd be pretty cool. But boy, the whole New York situation was so freaking ugly for Kenny. It makes you wonder if he can really still play at starting NFL wide receiver level.
It really does.
Yeah.
What about you? Who you buying? Who you buying?
Yo, I'm buying right now. So I'm buying Saints pass catchers. New Orleans Saints pass catchers. Since the arrival of Derek Carr, I really like any of the Saints pass catchers like that you can get a hold of. So specifically, I got some numbers here. Let me break this out. Right now, Michael Thomas is trading as the wide receiver 70 on KTC. 70. All right. I'm interested at that price. He might come back to the team. He might be incredibly productive again. I don't know. Chris Olave is the wide receiver 9. I'm in at cost. I'd be willing to draft him as the wide receiver 9 in a startup. That's fine with me. Raheem Shaheed, did I say his name right?
Rashid Shaheed.
I don't own a single share of this player, but he's very interesting, having watched some of him, and he's someone who could definitely be quite involved. And then Juwan Johnson is currently as the tight end 24 right now across most major ranking websites. We're talking about a 6'6" guy with a major social media following. That's just interesting because he might mean he kind of becomes something. I don't know. It says a lot of interesting stuff about him as a player, or as a person rather, not as a player. But I like him as a red zone target. Carr has always utilized his tight ends. We saw that with Darren Waller. Juwan could be a Waller light-esque. I think every single one of these guys is underpriced relative to what Derek Carr is going to bring to this offense. We're talking about a team that's probably going to be behind in most games, that has an above-average offensive line, plays in a dome, and has an offensive-minded coach. So I'm in. I'm in on all these guys. So go get yourself a Saints pass catcher if you can find it.
I don't know if you caught this. Jawan Johnson signed an extension with the Saints an
Did he?
hour ago.
Oh, what do you know? 2 year. There you go. He's rising.
Yeah, no, I noticed this morning he had tweeted one of those like question mark, like tease everybody tweets, and so yeah, there you go. So I like that. I like Jawan Johnson, Rashid Shaheed. I have a ton of shares from back when he was free.
Yeah.
Um,
Feel bad missing out on that now. Yeah.
I will say this. I think he might be the best wide receiver in last year's draft class who made it out of the second round. He didn't get drafted. I don't think there's a receiver I like better than him who went round 3 or lower.
Tyquan Thornton, he's a second round pick, right?
He was a second round pick.
Yeah. I can't think of any receivers.
I think I like him more than David Bell now. I think I like him more than Jalen Tolbert now. Velus Jones. I think I like him more than Romeo Doubs.
Mechie was a second round pick.
Yep. I think Rashid Shaheed has a chance for free agency to shake out such that he's starting opposite Olave.
Okay.
I don't think it's the most likely thing, but I think there's a 2 out of 3 chance that he's on the field for 3 wide receiver sets. And I think there's a, let's call it 1 in 5 chance that they just roll with both second-year guys as their starters.
Yeah, you got to steal when he doesn't have a picture on Sleeper yet still.
Yeah. So I like that call on those Saints pass catchers. What else you got?
Yo, who else am I buying right now? So 2024 first-round picks are looking pretty interesting. So that's a year away. Pretty much any time that you can get like 1 year off rookie first, that's usually something to consider. Right now, all the hype's around the 23 class. The 23 class is what everyone wants. If you're someone like me who has several 23 picks, then your inbox is blowing up every single day. Hungry teams that are wanting to come get your picks. I'm always willing to listen to offers that involve, take my current year first for a future year first plus juice. Like, those are my favorite type of deals to at least talk about and consider, and I usually find the middle ground to make those deals. So, like, if I'm sitting there at the 1.9, 110, where we're kind of outside the sweet spot, and I can get someone's 24 first, plus like a Shaheed, like a Chigokonkwo, one of these later guys that's kind of a dart, I'm strongly considering those moves. Probably would make a few of those moves. The 24 class is on a pass-fail grade. Right now, it looks like a pass. I can't really speak beyond that. Obviously the top end with the Caleb Williams and stuff is there. The overall depth, I honestly don't know that much about it, but
let's just say this, right? Like, weird things happen.
Yeah.
Right. For example, sometimes teams that are tanking win the title.
Oh yeah, you get a lottery ticket. Yeah. I mean,
right. Like, so at the top of next year's class is Caleb Williams. You've got Drake May, another quarterback from North Carolina, and you've got Marvin Harrison Jr., who is a Jamar Chase level wide receiver prospect, right? So in your 12-team league, that's a 25% of the first round right there, right? So when you're talking about these lottery tickets, if you get a couple of them, you're going to get one of those guys, probably. I mean, or you could have all your picks miss the playoffs. That's another thing. Or make the playoffs.
That happens to you too, and that happens more often than not. But like, it's worth taking those shots because the upside is absurd. You tell me I could trade off my 110 right now and get a Caleb Williams plus a juice on top of that? Oh my God, that's literally about the biggest possible win you can get. So you need to make those trades so you can at least have the opportunity to roll the dice, like Race to have the opportunity to hit on stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and if you've got like 5 first-round picks this year, maybe only make 4 of those, and turn one of them into a first-round pick next year, and something else. First and second-round picks next year. Whatever it might be, depending on the pick number, whatever the value is. I think that can be a great move. I have the one team where I had 7 firsts, and I traded 102 for Olave and a future first and another piece of juice.
Love it.
And now I still have 6 firsts, and I got bonus firsts next year. I'm taking my crop of extra first and pushing them forward. I know you do that. I love that. So let's talk about some sells then.
Yeah, sells.
Here are some things I'm selling high on the value. I think picks 111 and 112. I would like to either go up or go down off of those two picks. I feel like the one next to the number gives it a level of juice that the 202 doesn't have. But I don't think that the players at 111 and 112 are all that better than the players at 202 right now.
Very flat for like 6, 7, 8 players all in a row there. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't have the draft capital totally set in, but I feel really good about that. And then also, if I can go from 111 to 17 cheaply, even not that cheaply, I'm willing to do that, right? Like, I'm willing to treat 111 like 201 if it, value wise, if it's a part of a package to get up into the top 7 picks. Right, I'm willing to take slightly less than the value. I have a couple of spots where I have 11 and 12, and I'm thinking about like what number would you put both of those together and take in a super flex?
Where if you had 11 and 12, you could put them both together and go up.
Yeah, what number would you need to go up from 11 and 12?
If I packaged them both up and went up there, I would hope to get like the 106. Maybe I'm being greedy. I'd probably settle for 7.
You settle for 7, and getting any one of those Bijan, Gibbs, JSN, and the 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, that whole kind of A tier, I guess we'll call it. If I could secure one of those guys, 108 is probably too low. I think I'd
right because then you Quentin Johnston.
Sharp is interesting.
Yeah. If you're looking at Quentin Johnston or Charbonnet, maybe you just stay at 11 and 12 and take both shots. But like if you can get up into those top 7 guys, I think that's right. And another person I want to just mention as a sell, Lamar Jackson's value is going to go up the second he signs anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm selling. I actually don't own a single share of Lamar Jackson. If I did, I would sell them all the second he signs anywhere. So I just want to give that to the listeners as a thing to think about. Like find some way when he is hot to maybe sell him and go buy one of Tony's buy highs, those top 6 quarterbacks, right? Like maybe go put something in with Lamar on good news to go get those guys.
Lawrence, one of those guys. Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing for me that I am selling is I am selling a trio of young wide receivers who did not do it last year. I'm selling Jameson Williams, Sky Moore, and Terrace Marshall. And so I made a couple of trades to move on from Jameson Williams. So I sent Jameson Williams for DJ Moore.
Straight across. Love it.
Straight across.
Mm-hmm.
So this was don't take this as a huge endorsement of DJ Moore, right? Like it's fine. But what happened was that I'm looking for ways to get out of Jameson Williams. I don't know if you know this. The guy he was active for 6 games. He ran 34 routes. He had 1 catch, right? Like that's
touchdown.
And it was a 40-yard touchdown,
yeah.
Right? But like the ratios here, like that's really alarming in some sense, right? He was, and you have to make a lot of excuses where like, oh well, they were just easing him in, and they were just like getting his feet wet in an unserious way, and you have to make a lot of excuses for being active 6 games and having 1 catch for a guy with 112 draft capital. Well, he was only halfway right. Well, then why is he on the field, right? Like I don't. I'm very that all is very scary to me, and so when the guy who has DJ Moore puts him up as a sell on the heels of the 101 trade, I just said, hey, let's
swap.
Let's swap problems and I don't think DJ Moore is a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was great for me. And the other one I sent Jameson Williams across for the 12 and Rashad Penny. Hey, 112. I just made that as a sell, right? So like you can tell, I that's not an asset I love.
Moving off of JMO, yeah.
But I'm gonna try to turn around and go up from 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give something up that hopefully is worth about what Penny was worth.
Sure.
That's kind of my thought. Is I'll give some other piece. I'll give up my late 2 in that league to move up to 110 or whatever, and get it up into that Quentin Johnston tier of players, and I'll be happy turning Jameson Williams into a new first round wide receiver. Right? Even if it's not a high first capital guy, if it's a low first capital guy who didn't bust his rookie year, I'll feel better about that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Rashad Penny is a guy I might be who you might see on my buy low list soon. He's been attached to a couple of deals for me that I've been negotiating, and then I got this one. Man, anytime Rashad Penny is starting the game, he's in your lineup. Like anytime he is the lead back for that week, you play him. So
few and far between though those instances, unfortunately.
If it's half a dozen over the next 2 years, that's like half a dozen good starts. I love that. And then Sky Moore, man, if I could get any second round pick. So I was really spamming out Sky Moore trades, and I got a counter of Sky Moore and Jelani Woods for Deebo Samuel. And I smashed that.
That's so good
so
for
hard.
You. That's really good. Yeah.
That's so good. That's a rebuilding team who knew I have a lot of picks, and I let him. He was trying to get my picks. I let him know I'm not interested in giving up picks. And then I sent out Sky Moore for everybody's 24-second. He saw that I'm trying to move Sky Moore, and he came at me looking for, 2 of my rookies, since I'm not giving away the picks. And he offered an old guy, and he gave me a great deal. And so I smashed it. It was great. Terrace Marshall, I am offering Terrace Marshall to wherever I have him for a 24-second.
He literally offered me this. He's doing it, guys. He sent me these trades for Terrace Marshall.
Anybody's 24-second or anybody's 23, 210 or later. Mm-hmm. Or I'll take, if you have high picks. So if you have late picks, I'll take your 210.
Yeah.
If you have high picks, I'll take your 304 and your third next year.
It's interesting, man. It's hard to do it right now pre-free agency, but it's like his value is going to be so, volatile. Based on what happens
right? So you spam the league, spam the league, and see what shakes out.
Yeah.
You go.
All right, I'm not selling Jameson as aggressively as Greg is. I do have several shares of him, and I'm interested to hold. I think there's some philosophical questions on how much Amon-Ra and JMO can eat at the same time, but I am interested in the player. I'm a little more in than Greg is, but I did sell Jameson recently. Just put another trade on the table for y'all. So I was able to trade away Tyler Algier and Jameson, and I brought in T. Higgins and Gabe Davis. So this trade was just other owners sent this to me. It was Juju Smith-Schuster instead of Gabe Davis in there. It was Higgins and Juju for these two, and I just countered, took Juju out, put Davis in. He accepted. Bang bang. We didn't even DM each other. It's just quick exchange. Love this. Basically pivoting Jameson into Higgins. Love it. It's awesome. Yeah. So I'm willing to move off of him if the price is right, but I think I'm a little more keen to hold Jameson myself right now.
I mean the startup value between the 5th and 7th round, I can't hold at those prices.
No, that's a sweet spot to be able to get. I mean, anytime you can cash out for a lot in that round on any player.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm
selling Christian Watson right now. The Green Bay Packers wide receiver. I loved Christian Watson last season at his cost of like 110, 112 price. I am not as attracted to Christian Watson right now because it looks like Rodgers is leaving. Every single day it looks more and more like Aaron Rodgers is going to be a New York Jet. I think a lot of what Watson did was, because of Rodgers, and you can move off of Christian Watson right now. He's like the wide receiver 20 on KTC or something right now. Like I'm cool getting away from him for that. I think you can move Watson straight across for like one of these back end sweet spot picks. Like you might be able to move Watson straight across for a current year 107. I'd love to do that. I'd love to pivot off of Watson and get a Levis or a JSN or a Sharp. I'm in on that maneuver. Scared of Jordan Love and what he's going to do for Watson. And
let's play this game.
What's up?
Would you trade him for the 108?
Would I trade my Christian Watson for the 108? Yeah, I would. I would not do it for the 9.
Not for the 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
It represents a return on value from where you took him. I'm fine getting out of Watson. And my other sell right now is a package of players kind of like what Greg did. I'm selling all of these quarterbacks that are low draft capital, young guys who look like they're going to be starters. So that's going to be Kyle Trask, Sam Howell, and Desmond Ridder. I'm not messing with any of them. I'm doing these drafts right now. People are taking these dudes in like 9, 10, 11 round. I'm not messing with any of them. I think every single one of those guys loses his job to either an incoming rookie or one of these veterans. No, I don't want Trask, Ridder, or Howell. No, thank you. Please.
No, all right. So let me offer you. Do you have any shares of these guys?
I have a little bit of Ridder. That's
a little
it.
bit of Ridder.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any Ridder or Howell in Dynasty. I actually have a reasonable amount of Trask free. Because like he was free in December if you were
paying attention,
poking at that,
yeah.
Right? Like, so I have a decent amount. I have put out feelers to the Jordan Love owner with these guys. Also, I have a decent amount of Brock Purdy, and I'm trying to.
Purdy's another one we could put right into this list.
Right, and
I think so Love is like a tier above this list.
Yeah, so I'm like, what do I have to add to this guy to get to Jordan Love in your eyes? And if the Love owner likes their player, they're probably not doing it, but they might be like if they like one of your guys, if they happen to like Desmond Ridder, or if they are totally sold that Sam Howell is starting this year, then they might let you get into a better quarterback asset for cheap.
Yeah.
If you can't get a pick straight up for these guys.
Like that. Yeah. It's the Davis Mills story from last year, man. I mean, it's a guy who didn't get capital, who started, or who's not going to be the long-term option for his team. He's just not. So just exit. Don't mess around with that. Don't buy into that.
Right. Like there was a hot minute when Matt Corral. Carolina halfway looked like this, right? Yep. But and then now that's gone, right? So anyway, but I do think there is a halfway decent chance that one of these guys gets the opening day starts for their team, maybe even 2, and that has its own value. But I'd be shocked if one of the 3 of them didn't get big-footed in the next 3 weeks. Yeah. So if you could just get out. I love that. I love that. A
big reason for this too is the next tier lower of these quarterbacks, the fringe guys, the Zappies and Huntleys and Minshew's, the guys that are way lower in your drafted QB. I like them more than these dudes almost, because I think some of them can actually play. They're way cheaper, and they could grow into a starting job versus have a starting job now that they're gonna lose. So it's about trajectory, it's about cost, and I'm out on these. Young guys who look like starters and they're not.
Awesome. Love that. That's it. That is a great set of names there with Zappy and Minshew and Huntley and gosh, I mean, some of these guys are going ahead of Baker Mayfield and
Baker's another one. I'd rather have Baker than any one of these 3 dudes. And Baker's not even. He's a free agent. Yeah, he's not even on a team. Or is he still in a contract for the Rams?
He's a free agent.
Yeah.
He's a free agent. He could go somewhere else. He could go anywhere that drafts a rookie. He could go back to the Rams after they trade Matt Stafford.
Baker Mayfield is significantly better quarterback than all 3 of these dudes. And any one of their teams should be at least kicking the tires on him to bring Baker in. It just makes too much sense.
And he's a bunch of rounds lower in a startup.
Yeah. You get Baker Mayfield in the 17th round right now. I think that's where he went in my most recent draft. So,
yeah. Right. So...
All right, man. Right. Yo, thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you, being part of our fantasy family here. Thank you so much for just being here with us. Me and Greg love talking football with you, and hit us up in the DMs, leave a comment on the channel, trade advice, pick advice on your drafts, whatever. We're here to talk. quick shout out. I'm going to be on Mr. Alan Seslowski's show for RotoWire in the upcoming week. We're going to be recording that here in the next couple days. We're going to be talking about, the productive struggle process and rookies and all the good juice out there. So we're going to have a link to his channel down there, and keep an eye out for that. Yeah, man. Anything to tell our listeners out here today?
Oh, not too much. Just say, hey guys, you gotta stay on top of the news in the next week, right? So we're recording this, and this will probably be released 2 days or a day before the legal tampering period opens for free agency. Guys, you got to check if any news has broken when you get these incoming trade offers, right? Like,
don't smash accept on anything.
After, yes, right. It's all going to go in warp speed here this week, and we'll be checking in with you guys to break some of that down as the week goes on.
All right, we'll be here. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a safe time.